Good morning, friends. It's been a little while since I have uploaded a video, so I will just take you through and do a little update on everything. I will try to remember to put timestamps on all the subject matter so that you can just kind of skip through whatever you want to watch and whatever updates you want to see. So let's start. So some of you may remember that I took some plants from our rental property, and maybe you're wondering, did they survive? Well, let's start with the strawberries. I was very hopeful for strawberries. I'm gonna give them a little bit more time because a friend of mine, actually the same person that gave me these starts, Nicole, she reminded me that I did change actual growing zones. So I'm hoping that these are still in dormancy. You know, I do see like little fuzzy starts of possibly green, so I'm hoping that they will come out of dormancy and that they will survive. Same thing with these strawberries, they're just not looking good. These were the ones that were in the ground, the pink ones. I'm not too overly hopeful on these. I had a lot of fungus gnats, so I don't know how much damage they did. I am noticing obviously this one right here, that one was from Nicole, so hopefully I will have at least one strawberry plant to restart from the strawberries I got from Nicole. And I do have at least one pink one that looks really good so far, so I'm really hopeful that I'll have at least one to get everything started. The herbs that I moved are doing very well. This one is the thyme, and as you can see, it's got all kinds of nice green regrowth on it. Same thing with the lavender. This early spring I cut it back, which come to find out you're only supposed to cut less than 1/3. So I'm thankful that it's actually starting to green up and actually have new sprouts, despite my substantial haircut that I gave it. This is the mountain mint. The mountain mint is also looking pretty well. I did start some new ones inside, so even if this doesn't do well, I have some new plants inside. But it looks like it pulled through. And this big tall spiky one in the middle, that is actually cabbage. And as you can see, it went to seed, which I'm completely fine with, because maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get some cabbage seeds out of that. All right, that's the update on did it survive from the old house. The chickens are quickly outgrowing their pen inside and need to be moved outside, so my husband has been working on the chicken coop. As you can see, he heated the bottom. This is, I will insert the title of what this stuff is, but basically it's just a sealant to make sure that the floor doesn't rot away when it gets wet. So we need to get these ladies out. As far as the garden goes, there was a huge pile of compost. It was 3 truckloads full. We spent 7 hours total dispersing it throughout the beds. We need to add a couple more amendments, and then we will rake them and till them in and add them in so that they're all nice and even. And we obtained quite a bit of slab wood from the Amish, and we will be using that as sides and end pieces for the garden beds. We have larch and pine so far. This is the pine, and here's some of the larch pieces. The larch has this beautiful redness in the bark, and it lasts a really long time. So we'll start with the larch pieces and work our way through and see how far we can get with that before we move to the pine. The larch is a little bit more even, so we want to start with that to begin with. Well, that's the garden. It doesn't seem like much right now, but it's very exciting. Oh, and I do have a big old pile left of the compost right there because it's going to go back down for my kitchen garden. That's going to be herbs and that sort of thing. I'll show you that too. We trimmed the apple trees as best as we could with the equipment that we have, which wasn't great, but they're definitely, the bottoms are definitely clearer. They look a little cleaner. We are starting to get some leaves, and some of them are getting some buds. Can't wait to see this whole little orchard in bloom. It's gonna be beautiful. Not too much longer. Here's that front garden that I was mentioning where I want to put a little bit of compost before I put in some of the perennials to be a kitchen garden and herb garden. There's already hops there, and they will grow up and over that. This whole section here is also hops, so it needs another climbing structure. If we get to that this year, wonderful. If we don't, I'm not going to be overly worried about it. I do want to contain the hops though into that section so that this here can be just for perennials. Right now, these hostas are looking really good, but the deer tend to get them, and for whatever reason, they haven't right now, which is very interesting. There must be enough food elsewhere, but I want to make this a perennial bed. So where all my garden herbs and spices will go. So here's the chicks, an update on the chicks. They are getting very large. I took out the brooder heater just this morning. They are so big. I don't really need it anymore. Hello! Hello, my friend. What are you doing? They need out. What are you doing? Yeah. Thank you. Alright, so I have 2 lavender Orpingtons. You can kind of tell which ones they are. They are very slightly more grayish than 2 others that are the Sapphire Splash. Then I have 2 Black French Copper Morans, and they are the ones with the very, very feathery feet, so they're easy to tell apart. I have 2 Olive Eggers and 2 Prairie Bluebell Eggers. And one of the Prairie Bluebell Eggers is sort of easy to tell because that's Maleficent. And Maleficent has amazing feet. There she is right there. That's Maleficent. She's very dark black, including her beak. And her feet are very gray and kind of scaly. So she reminds me of, hello, you're going to come up and see me again? Well, come on up. Make your camera debut. Hello. Not so brave anymore? No. Oh. Oh, girly. Oh, that's so, oh, it's hard. It's hard being a chicken. She's like, my sister did it. Why can't I do it? So sorry. Okay, and anybody that wanted a plant update, things have gotten out of hand very quickly. Got pineapple, ground cherry, tulsi, and then eggplant in the back. The pineapple ground cherries, I saved my own seed from last year, and they are doing very well. I've got 6 of those. I planted, I think, 6 different kinds of basil, and the large leaf Italian basil, as well as the wild basil, did not do very well. However, the other basil is doing absolutely fine. Here is my spring things like all of the cauliflower and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. These could have been outside already had the garden bed been ready, but as you can tell from the earlier update, it's not. Then here, starting in the front, I have fennel, and then rutabaga, and then kale in the very back. And then here's some more basil. I just love basil leaves when they first start coming up. They're so cute. And then in the back is more broccoli, 2 different kinds of broccoli. The peppers that are growing are ready for a transplant. I think I ended up with 12 peppers that popped up. This is a bit of a mixed tray right here. These are all supposed to be marigolds. They did not germinate very well. I'm not sure exactly why. And then I'm looking at this little guy and I've got some speckling going on. I don't think that is normal. So I'm gonna look up and see what's going on there. My cosmos right here looks really good. I have one line that didn't germinate very well. This is Mixed Sensation Cosmos, and this one is Seashell Cosmos. I grew the Seashell last year. The Mixed Sensation, that's supposed to be newer seed, so I'm not sure what's going on here. These two rows are borage. They are doing very well, and they need to be up potted. You can tell by the color of their leaves. They're done with this little container. I've got catnip here. Those one that germinated, the other one that didn't. These little leafy ones right there, they look really good. Those are the chamomile. The germination rate was great on that. I've got brand new mountain mint going right there, and then sage right next to it in the corner. That's what those four are. I've got peppermint and lemon bee balm. Then I have lemon balm right there. I have one roselle that popped up, the other one didn't germinate. It's already very large. And then in the very far back there, the tiny little ones are bergamot. About half the tray didn't germinate, but that was all marigolds. So that is very interesting. I'll have to look up and see what's going on with those. This is a super fun tray because these little ones right here, these are all tomatoes, but these little ones right here that are already starting to get little blossoms on them. See the little blossoms? That's because these are called orange hat tomatoes. They're a dwarf variety, so they aren't going to get much bigger than they already are. So that's why they are already starting to flower. How exciting is that? Very excited. I did just up pot all my tomatoes. I had a lot of issues, and that was probably my fault from having them all sit together for so long, but I had a lot of leaf curling, a lot of leaf yellowing. So I took out a bunch of them that just did not do well. Mr. Stripey in particular was not good. It looked terribly diseased already. So I took out all of those plants, save for one that survived. This is the only survivor that looked decent. The ones in the teal cups are the ones that I'm keeping. And I have all of these in the red cups that I'm giving away. That's a lot of tomatoes. And other than my trays of leeks and onions upstairs, these are the last two planting trays that I have going right now. This is an all nasturtium tray, and some of them did better than others. The Alaskan dwarf did very well. I only had one that didn't germinate. The Orchard Cream, which is Baker Creek, I only have 2 out of 8 that germinated. Same thing for the Dwarf Jewel nasturtium, and then this nasturtium was from Fruition Seeds Mix. I did very well with these last year, but I had only 3 out of 8 germinate this year. And then the last one is the Cherry Rose. The Cherry Rose did very well. I had almost all of them germinated, all but one. So these will be ready to go outside soon. I'm just loving the little leaves on the Alaskan dwarf though. Aren't they pretty? They're variegated. Then this tray is a mixture of flower seeds. These 4 rows here. Oh man, it was kind of sad. I bought this lovely deer resistant seed mix packet from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and I was getting ready to pull out and divide some of the seeds because it's a mixture. I don't know what is what, so I wanted to divide them into what looks similar so that I could keep the seeds together a little bit and try and figure out what was what. Well, unfortunately, the seed pack got wet and all of the seeds got wet. So I took out as many as I could, and this is it. So we'll see what I get out of these 4 rows of seeds. There's an interesting mixture for sure. This looks like cosmos. But these look interesting, these little leaves here. I'm not sure what they are, but we'll find out. And then I think all of the rest of these are all different kinds of zinnias. I have sparkly mix, oh, these are supposed to be marigold, sparkly mix marigold. And then these are semi-dwarf zinnias. These are purple prince zinnias. And then last is the candy cane zinnias. I'll at least have some pretty flowers to start out the garden with. All right, friends, that's it for my update. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you'll hang in there for all of my updates to come. We've got so much work to do inside and outside, and planting season hasn't even happened for us yet. Our last estimated frost date is at the very earliest Memorial Day weekend, so we won't even be planting until probably then. So hang in there. Bye bye for now. Thanks for watching.